So the lease payment for the two will be $11,000, so it's $5,500 a month per truck, which will come off the 6-month lease, which will come off of that initial cost, leaving a residual value of $708,400 that we'll have to pay off in 6 months. 100% of that lease payment goes towards it with no interest on it, and so it's just a flat out payment that we're just kind of spreading the payments out a little bit. And that's the whole basics of this whole contract is that. I will be sending that to them also, and it sounds like they've already shipped one truck, and they kind of jumped the gun and was confident we were going to get them. So one's on its way here right now. The other two, as soon as I send that contract, you'll probably have them shipped. It might take 2 days, if that, to get here, and then we'll start processing them into our system, and hopefully have them in service here pretty quick.
Cool.
So these last 3, even though we're just now ordering them, we'll get them before we ordered the ones a year and a half ago.
Right.
And just so you know, for an update on that, the 2 cabin chassis are still at Truck and Trailer getting built for that original 2. The other 2 cabin chassis that I ordered since I've been here, that'll be at the swap loaders, haven't even come from the manufacturer yet. So once we get them, they'll go to Truck and Trailer to get built also.
They might be.
So
2 years.
they're still like
2025.
out. Those are figured into the budget. So if they all come together in 24, so be it. And hopefully we'll stay afloat.
So will it be 23s or 25s?
Trucks.
The ones that are getting built right now are 23s. The ones we're getting, the 3 that we're getting are actually 22s, but they're brand new, and they're the older version. And the ones that'll be coming will be whatever comes off the line, so they'll probably be 24s or 25s, depending on when they come off the line. All right. Another just kind of gee whiz info for you. We've got a nuclear gauge in the basement, and I've been working with the NRC to get certified and trained to where we have a nuclear regulatory officer here again. We're actually not in compliance. This is the 3rd time we haven't been in compliance here in Hillsdale, apparently over the past so many years. They're not real happy, and so they're issuing a citation.
What do they expect when someone retires or passes away or something that's that officer?
Well, they expect you to have something in place to
That doesn't matter.
to carry over until you that's part of what I've got to do is I got to write up a plan as to how I'm going to keep it from happening in the future, which will be to have a second person as a minimum. Second person as an operator certified. That way,
Right.
you know, if I leave or whoever the RSO leaves, that second person can still take care of everything until you can make either them an RSO or get a new RSO. Because there's a difference between the operator and the RSO. The RSO can do both, but the operator can basically operate. The RSO takes care of the program.
So how long has this gauge been in the basement?
Probably forever. We probably had it for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's an old gauge.
I never heard of such a thing.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it has got a very, very minute amount of radioactive material in it. That's what checks the density when they're out there doing projects. You can check the density of the material, whether it be concrete, asphalt, just base material. It can check the moisture and density in it. The way they explained it is basically you can take that little thing of the radioactive material, swallow it, and you'll probably get sick for a few days until it passes, and then that's it. That's all the more radiation it actually
But it has
it.
radiation.
But it has it, so you've got to follow all their
Silly rules.
criteria.
So you brought this up before, and how come we're not already trained it in compliance?
Well, I just finished doing the online course, which is a certification, and I've got the on-hands training now from Charlie, and they have to have like 2 hours on-hand training, and I've got to finish up the policy, basically, to say how we're going to do it, how we're going to keep it from happening.
So when you get that all that done, are they gonna waive the fine, or are we getting fined?
They aren't gonna fine, they're only issuing a citation right
Okay.
now, and as long as I'm working with the guy from
Okay.
NRC,
Okay,
as long as we take care of it here, they'll be fine.
So
If we let it go, then they might eventually assign a fine to
So
the
it's a
citation.
written warning,
Kind
is
of,
what you're
yes.
saying.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there is no fine right now, it could be like a $21,000 fine if they wanna,
We don't need that.
but they basically said as long as I work with Rex, which is the guy I'm dealing with, to get all this taken care of and handled, then that'll
Great.
suffice. But I will say, if it happens again, they probably aren't gonna be too,
Well, Bob, make sure that doesn't happen again. That's your job.
when I leave, something's gotta be in place to,
Do we have to
Right,
have a,
right,
do we have
right.
to have a suit and all that stuff?
no. But it is under a triple lock and there's criteria for it, you know, so.
Alright.
And they acknowledged in their inspection that they did, it was secured properly, it was
One more hoop to.
sitting there right, it was just the paperwork of identifying the,
When do we
Ours.
get inspected again? Is it an annual inspection?
no, 'cause like Jackson hasn't seen them in 4 years.
This was the first time they've been here in 5 years.
Yes,
Okay.
but once they realize there's an issue,
They,
probably will see them
They'll
more
be
often.
back, they'll be back.
okay,
It's kinda like OSHA.
yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to let you guys know, I've got my certification from Troxler, I've got the hands-on training, now it's a matter of just kind of the paperwork.
So can you train a replacement?
No, they will have to, well, eventually, yes, I could. No matter who it is, has to do that Troxler training, it's an online training, they give you a certificate.
Okay.
And then you have to have an operator that has operated it for so many years, give you hands-on training. And so I'm utilizing 2 of the guys in Jackson to give me that training that meet those requirements. If at some point, if I wind up having enough years to suit that, then yes, I could.
A good train.
We can always,
Do we actually use this thing?
we should during some of the projects, but we don't even have like a engineer tech to go out and do it. I mean, so
so we haven't been using it.
we haven't this year.
In
I wanna
2023.
say.
In the past, it was Heather and Chet.
And Chet used it in the past, but,
Okay.
so. I just,
They had certification.
yes. But as soon, when Chet left, that's when we lost,
The certification.
you know, anybody that's qualified. Okay, so, I talked about the adoption of Act 88 a month or 2, or a meeting or 2 ago. I did some more research with it with MERS. MERS is like, I'm not sure why you don't have it. It's a very good recruitment tool is what they call it. That's about what I gather, that's what it is. And so basically there's no cost to the county or the individual to enact this process or to apply for it. The only actual, and I think Kathy had asked last time, was there legacy cost that goes with it. There is no legacy cost because once somebody is vested and retired, that goes to MERS. MERS might absorb the legacy cost because at that point they may have to pay a retirement out for somebody that might have left between 30 months and 6 years. Other than that, it doesn't matter. That's the only time frame.
But
That
that's
matters.
our legacy cost, because MERS sets our contribution based on the actuarial report, which they will be a part of.
But she said the Act 88 makes no difference on the premium that we pay. That's just one of the things that they do. The only cost, it does cost eventually, or could cost, is if somebody was here for 30 months, enacted that, which then technically vests them. So where if they left between that 30-month and the 6-year mark, normally they would keep anything they've invested, the county would get back anything we put in. At that point, we just wouldn't get that back. It would stay there because they would be vested just as if they stayed for 6 years. But they still only get paid for however many years that they actually worked.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Kind of.
So, I guess I would ask if you guys would entertain a motion to, adopt Act 88.
Have most road commissions in the state done this, do you know?
It sounds like they have, that aren't in MERS. I mean, they have, and from the way it sounded from MERS is, it's just a common thing that most of them do.
I would so move.
I have a support.
Support.
So I have a motion from Mike and a support from Mark to adopt this Act 88.
I would add one thing, cause this is this would be like, for you guys to acknowledge or say you wanna adopt it, it would take a resolution to adopt it, so at that point, MERS would send us the resolution
Okay,
Oh, so we make the motion first and then they send us the resolution.
Right.
all right. Well, if we approve this, that's what we're taking that step. I guess, you know.
taking the step to move forward with MERS
Yes.
is get the resolution.
Sounds to me like if we change our mind, we would still have the privilege to change our mind.
That's the resolution.
Yeah.
I will bring up for discussion whether now's the right time to do this, or should this be done in conjunction with the contract negotiations?
Could be. It could be used as a bargaining chip, or yes, very well could be.
When is the contract up?
The contract's up at the end of the year, so.
Into 24.
So, yeah, and 24, so we'll probably have to start negotiating July, August, I would say, timeframe to hopefully get it done.
For the,
And that very well could be a good time to do it.
or we could have it in place already.
So what's your pleasure?
I don't think they would care if we have it or not, cause it's not affecting them. So they're not
It would
gonna
affect
fight,
any new people.
they're not gonna fight for it.
No.
The way Burns was talking is that they most see it as a recruitment tool to where if somebody's got time over
Right.
here but don't wanna waste it, they can use it to here.
Yeah,
I say we get it out of the way.
they used to get you for job shopping, on a resume.
So I have a motion and support on the floor that we move forward with this Act 88 process. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No,
No. So the motion fails on a tie vote. Doesn't mean we can't revisit the issue down the road.
Correct.
So, we'll move forward.
Next thing, we had the Jackson come fly the gravel pile that we had processed with a drone to measure it. Then we used some of it while they were still processing, so they're gonna, he may have already done it yesterday, the day before. He's gonna fly it again now that we're all done processing there, so that we can get a final volume of what we did plus what we took out. We know what we took out already, so we'll add it all together and that'll tell us how much total we processed and how much per ton that's gonna come out to be. Along with that, they are looking at purchasing a new drone in Jackson, and I think they'd be willing to sell us that one, which is a whole kit of batteries and it works with this program, and there's nothing wrong with it really at this point.
I thought we already bought one from Jackson this year.
We haven't bought a
Half
drone.
of the
We
program.
got the program, we paid for half the program that this drone can measure, and they've come and done it with that drone so far. But they wanna buy a new one, I'll let them take the heavy brunt of the new one and buy this one.
This is sounding like deja vu.
What's-
Did we talk about doing this
We
before
talked
and
about
we
it,
didn't
yes.
do
We
it?
talked
Yeah,
about
we-
it.
Okay,
They
Okay.
haven't elected to get a new one
To
yet.
buy the new
Buy
one,
the
so
new
now
one.
it's actually happening, okay,
Yeah.
alright,
It comes back.
Again, they're talking about it.
they're talking, okay,
So,
okay, alright.
I don't see an issue, I've personally flown this drone, I've actually crashed it a couple times, but.
Yeah, I think you said that before.
So there's nothing wrong with the drone, it works great with this program. And if that's the case, I think we could purchase it, if nothing else to learn with. You know, you're gonna have to have somebody new learn how to
Sure.
control it.
Now, is this the same drone and program that we can fly the roads with?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Cause really, that's just, any drone can do that, cause it's just a camera, you're
Right.
flying.
You can record.
This one has to hook up with this other software to be able to.
Now, when you're flying the roads, can it record the feet and mileage or all that?
I don't think we have, I made it might, but,
Because our drones we use for crop insurance will measure acreage
okay.
with the program.
So has Jackson given us any idea what they're gonna want for it?
No, but I would guesstimate no more than 2,000. If they did, I would say, yeah, no, we'll go.
Right.
something. And the only reason I would even say that much is because it has the hard case, it has like 7 batteries that we bought over the years, and it's got all the little bells and whistles that goes with it that you'd have to buy in for the new one. But,
Alright,
and if we're gonna learn with it and with the possibility of crashing it, you don't wanna crash a new one.
Yeah, crash the old one.
So do we currently own a drone at all?
No.
No.
We do not own a drone, okay.
Drone is.
We have moved the crusher over to Shannon's pit, so we're done processing at Watkins pit. We're estimating about 40,000 is what we've made there. So that'll sit there until springtime, because you can't really do the gravel because the clay gums it up. And the thought is, come early spring, we're gonna have them open it up, get it set, and we're gonna crush some of their stone to make some just crushed stone for talking 3/4 to 1 inch size stone that we'll be able to use, and that kind of knocks all the cobwebs out of the machines, and then they can, when everything dries out, they'll go right into gravel processing and hopefully process another 40,000 there.
Question, so how much gravel estimation is left at Watkins pit?
I would have to see how much they actually took away from
Yeah, how
like
much,
the existing bank
how much
to make that
overburden
40.
is left in there?
I would think there's probably at least the same that's there.
So if we do another year, then that pit will be
Mhm.
done.
Mhm.
We gotta go look for more gravel.
And that's kind of one of the reasons, I know we have to pay an extra $2 a ton to process in Shannon's, but we're not using up ours.
Correct, because we only got one
We have
other,
2 pits that per se still have gravel left in them.
we don't know what's over on Moore Road, what's left over there. I mean,
I don't think there's a lot. Pittsford is gonna take some overburden removal, and then we'll be able to process there. And I know those are the main 2 pits that still have decent gravel in them.
I thought you said when Moore Road didn't have any gravel left.
I don't know as more, I don't know if any of them do worth processing other than Pittsford and Watkins.
Okay, Pittsburgh Watkins.
I know the other day I drove by Moore Road, and there was up to, what's that, Homer Road? Yeah, I think that Homer Road dead on Moore.
Yes.
But I don't, I didn't get out and go look and see what the quality, or anything.
Or how deep it is, or how
Yeah.
big an area it is, you know.
and the pit was locked, so I couldn't go in there, so.
10 feet in might be sand or
Yeah,
clay
or
or.
it might even be boulders.
Yep.
So having heard that, do we have a plan? Are we gonna buy more dirt for gravel, more acreage to process our own gravel?
Well,
Are
I
we
think you
not
guys
going to?
discussed that back just a while ago
Well, I remember
about
Bob,
purchasing something.
I remember Bob Godfrey saying that the state has put a whole lot of requirements on.
They do,
For
yes.
mining.
I didn't think the state had passed those rules yet to oversee all gravel pits. I know they talked about it, there's
That I
proposed legislation, but I didn't think anything has passed yet. anyways, I guess I'm curious what our plan is.
Me too.
Yeah, cause I could potentially see us running out of gravel.
And eventually, yes, that's
And
gonna happen to everybody.
we've had, we've had the people here from Stone Cove, which
Yep.
might have just, and you don't like politics.
No, I don't.
Anyway, let's see, Hog Creek Bridge, Allen Township sent me a thing, and I wasn't able to make their township meeting the other night, but I sent them an update of where we sat with it. And basically what that is I've met with Bob Kren, the same company that did the Camden Road Bridge, Kren Timber Bridges. I got him some measurements, and he's saying
Thank you.
from when or if we place an order for them, it takes 2 to 4 weeks for them to do the plans, and then another 14 to 20 weeks to have the materials delivered. He said that's the worst case scenario, so 24 weeks is gonna be the max from when we place an order, is when we can have everything in place. He said hopefully on the beginning of those, like 16 weeks to have it all. But that's for when we place an order, so he's gonna do up a rough estimate based off of the pictures and the measurements I gave him. And based with that, we'll have to go to Allen Township and see if they're willing to entertain.
Put up some money.
Yep. And last time I talked to them, they were like, yeah, let us know, and that's where I think I told you, if they were able to split it up over 2 years, they would be probably,
Now, that's a 50-50?
yes.
Okay.
And so, worst case scenario, that's a 19-foot span between the two abutments, but it scours out on the downstream side. If Eagle makes us go to that scoured area, it's gonna make it a 30-foot bridge. So going from a 19 to a 30 could make a huge difference.
Oh.
Yeah.
Granted, it is on the downstream side, so it's not per se as bad as if it was on the upstream side. They would definitely make you go. But maybe we can get away with some riprap, because that's all it's really doing is coming around the wing walls, and the actual creek itself isn't that wide. So once we get an estimate from them, depending on what that is, we might have to look for more estimates from, I mean, if we go with the concrete, the abutments and the steel beam and all that, that's gonna be significantly more, but we'll have to see how that goes.
What was the width of the bridge on the Camden Road project?
I wanna say that's probably 25, 26 foot, and this is the same, this has got a 25-foot, usable road space between the guardrails. So it's comparable to Camden, I think it's just shorter. I think Camden was closer to 40 foot. And so this one hopefully can be like 20 or ish. So with that being said, Camden wound up being 300 some thousand total is what we pulled on the cost on it. So even if that's 300 some thousand, that's 150 to the township. If they split that over 2 years, it sounded like that might be doable for them. That's where we sat with them. The Elm Road, we're still waiting on Eagle to tell us if we can use the tube. And Eagle's involved with the Hog Creek to let us know what they're gonna mandate too. So we're just waiting on them to get back with us. Myself and Bob and Gary met with the state rep, Fink, and some of the Amish bishops the other day concerning mainly the Camden area, because I think that's where most of them are from.
Yes.
They were concerned with some of the signage and asking about getting some of the roads widened for like buggy traffic and some things like that. I don't think we really settled on a whole lot, other than I gave them all a copy of the Hillsdale map, and I asked them to highlight where do they use the most, and then prioritize, okay, this has got a school or a church, and everybody runs this one, but occasionally people are on this road, so we can see where they're at, and maybe then come up with a plan to put up some signs, not too many that, like, people ignore them, but enough to draw the attention. Things like that. So we talked about the signage, we talked about, they were asking about the widening of the road, but, I mean, that's a considerable amount of money
Yeah.
that you're talking there.
Like,
Even though we do have to spend 1% of our MTF on non-motorized facilities, which a widened, it has to be a 4-foot, widened shoulder or a bike path or something like that qualifies for that. We do have to spend over a 10-year period an average of 1%. So if you do one big project here and it averages over 10% for 10 years, or 1% for 10 years, that covers it. So there's things that we do need to do. It's just a matter of what can we do and.
so they were talking like a buggy lane then?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 'cause like up north, and there's a lot of Amish in around my cabin up north, and the state actually went in and paved an extra, I wanna say 6 or 8 foot on the sides of the main road between Meesick and Manton, specifically for them. I mean,
That'll be done.
And you see a lot of that in LaGrange County, Indiana, too.
I mean, you have to have the space to do it, and you gotta have the money to do it, so, but, never know until you look. I did talk with them a little bit about, they have in the past put materials down the roads that we didn't approve. And it's not just the stones, they've actually paid for and had gravel or limestone or whatever,
Hauled in.
hauled in and laid. And I'm like, but you really can't do that. I said, I'd let them know that puts a liability on us, because now if somebody gets in an accident because of whatever they put on the road, whether it's good or bad material,
Correct.
still liable. But I also let them know that our match, policy is, if you come to us and you put $17,000 worth of gravel on the road, we can match it at that point. And that was $34,000 worth of gravel. And they were like, oh. So maybe, hopefully that kind of enlightens them a little bit, where maybe that will get them to come to us once, so that we can make sure we know exactly what's going on the roads, but it can actually go a little farther.
Yeah.
So,
Did you say anything to them about going out the road with their plows and dropping dirt and going back?
yeah. They did acknowledge that, they said, we know our horses and our wagon wheels and everything do damage the roads. They kind of acknowledge that, but not that they'll be participating in repaving a road or anything like that,
No.
but anyway, they did acknowledge it. We just I think we had a decent talk.
Been a good meeting.
And I'm curious to see what they come back with the maps, and one that'll let us see, this is actually the areas that they're concentrated in, and this is where we need to concentrate our efforts in, So we'll see how that goes.
So if the Amish community were to put money towards gravel and we match it, do they actually have to go through the township to get that done?
I would at least go through the township so that they know what's going on in there,
Okay.
but I guess what I'm saying is the Amish community can be the match. It doesn't have to.
Right,
It doesn't have to be
It
the
doesn't have to
township.
be
Right.
coming from the
But we'd
township.
actually like contract with the township.
Yes, I would expect that.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to make sure of.
And if not, we would have to make sure that was paid for in full before we did anything,
Before we
because
did
we can't tax them, we can't.
Right, there's no avenue to get, okay.
So, anyway, I think it went.
Mike, your jacket.
Mike,
Your jacket.
Oh, yeah, I remember that way out the door.
Yeah. Especially tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
And one of their big concerns, again, on the signage was the detour traffic on the Camden Road is extra traffic that they haven't had to deal with in the past. So we'll need to look at that. It is an extra.
And that's something that I still firmly believe we need to do soon.
I thought you said you were gonna talk to the contractor about extra signage. Did you talk to them?
I didn't about the Amish signs.
Well, I thought that we didn't necessarily specifically say Amish signs, but.
Well, I got to doing a little digging, and the Amish sign is technically in the MMUTCD, so it does qualify as I don't want to say a regulatory sign, but it's in the manual.
Okay.
The caution slow moving vehicle is not.
Okay.
So if we did that, we'd kind of be going against what we were talking about.
Okay,
So,
all right, cause I know
Well,
that's what we
and
talked
the other part of that is too, that where the contractor is working, there's virtually no Amish traffic down there. On
Yes, it's the
Territorial Road.
detour route that
Yeah,
Right.
is taken.
it's
Yeah.
the Camden Road detour route
Sure.
that has the Amish traffic.
So we're gonna take a look at all that and
Okay.
address what we can.
Alright.
Let's see, we received the MDOT LOU for this year, so it's basically the same exact, LOU for night patrol and winter maintenance for the state trunk lines.
What's those letters represent?
Letter of understanding.
Okay,
We do one every year with the MDOT, and it just calls out what we will and won't do under the state contract for winter maintenance and nights. So that's the exact same one, just new signatures and new dates.
And it doesn't specify amounts because we're reimbursed for costs.
Yes.
So any increases automatically happen
Yes,
with the
they
other.
will always make us whole what they call for winter maintenance.
Okay,
So if we're out there plowing roads, they'll always, if we go over budget, they'll always
Okay.
pay it.
so it's about making sure we allocate the cost correctly.
Yes. And, but this calls out that we'll have 2 people on from this time to this time, we'll only charge this amount, which I hate that part, but we only can charge half of their time to
Okay.
patrol. We can charge it all to winter maintenance, if they're out there plowing.
If they're plowing, that's 100%, but only half of it, if
Road
there's no
patrol, they
plowing.
only pay for half.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's just one of the perks they do.
Right.
so do we need to approve that as a board?
No, this is.
But we're gonna have
I
3
signed
people,
it.
but we're gonna have 3 people on winter.
No, we only had 2, or actually 1 extra one volunteered, and so
We're just gonna
we'll
go
go
with
with
2.
2. I wasn't gonna force somebody to be the third,
Okay,
but if somebody volunteered to be the third, I was willing to,
That's on nights?
yes.
Okay.
so we are only gonna
So
go
we're
with
on
2 on
two,
nights.
yes.
2
Okay.
on nights and what, 4 during the day? Wasn't there 6?
On total for the
Is it
state.
everybody that's working during the day?
Well, but there's, there's certain ones for the state.
No, but we're talking state.
Well, no,
roads.
we could only charge 2 to the state, we
Yeah.
were gonna put an extra one to go with
Yes.
3.
Correct.
Yes.
So
Correct.
that's what
But I'm
I'm,
talking total employees, both
For the
night and day.
state
okay,
during the day, so
Yeah,
yeah.
there's 6.
Yeah,
right?
because they still gotta cover all the state trunk lines during the day.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
I mean, you're not just gonna plow state roads at night.
I
And
understand.
during the day, we don't do nothing with them.
Let's see, and so basically the guys right now, because of the weather, we've had them scraping gravels and we'll keep scraping gravels until
Yes.
weather takes us off. Yes, we may make some muddy roads and we did one the other day, we gotta go back and fix it, but, cause there is still some water standing on some of the roads, or if we get rain after, or snow after we do it, it could turn some of them muddy. But I think the benefit of cutting the bumps out as much as we can outweighs a little bit of mud.
Correct.
And we'll just deal with the mud as we come. My last thing is the township meeting schedule. As to when do we wanna meet with all the townships for their, this year's contracts and projects and stuff. I don't remember what days we did it last year.
That was in March, I know that.
No, it was before then.
We
We
met in
cannot
January.
wait till March. We met in January.
I looked back at 2020 and 2021 board meetings, so maybe then,
back then it
that's why
probably
it
was,
stuck
but
to
last
me.
year we
So
did
that's
early.
why I
Oh,
said
yeah, we were
that.
in March.
Well, I was here in 21. In 21, we met in January as well.
well, that I don't
Well,
know.
I was thinking either the, go ahead, Bob.
I just soon meet in January too, so we can get ahead of the game.
Yes,
Yes,
We need to
and
do
the
that.
townships are asking to meet in January.
Well, and I was thinking either the week of the 22nd or the week of the 29th. The 29th would do better to be able to get some of these contracts done up ahead of time, but does anybody?
I will probably, the first week of February, we will probably go to Florida.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna be going to Florida in February if I can get out of here.
so Bob, would you be, I mean, the 29th is a Monday, and so you've got Thursday and Friday of that week is the 1st and the 2nd of February. Would you leave before then?
I think she wants to leave at the end of January, but that's, sometimes I win, sometimes I don't.
Well, that's part of being married.
Well, do we want to say maybe the 22nd, 23rd, 24th frame?
Yep, that would work.
I'm looking at December.
Yeah, January.
I was gonna say, we're not meeting on Sunday, are we?
No, the 22nd is a Monday.
Okay.
And
And
these
then we
are,
would have a board meeting on the 25th, that's the second,
Yeah.
Thursday.
Okay.
That worked out good.
Okay,
So you're talking what days?
22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Yeah, I can't make it the 23rd in the morning.
well, most of those are in the evening, aren't they?
A lot of them don't start until, we don't start afternoon and evening.
Okay.
All right,
That's
I
the
can make
schedule.
it, because I got a doctor's appointment, the 23rd at 8:30.
I would say most of them were all in the afternoon, because they need to be able to get
Yeah,
from their jobs and stuff to here.
afternoon and evenings.
And so at that point, if we use those days and maybe start scheduling or calling them and seeing what they want and.
Yeah,
And we don't have township meetings that third week usually.
No.
Shouldn't have those evening meetings. So the only thing I might have is with Lifeways, I do have evening meetings, it should be the third,
Seems like,
it'd be the third Wednesday of the month, so the
this will be the
24th.
24th is the fourth Wednesday.
1, 2, 3, yeah, okay, so I'm out of that too then, alright, so yeah. it should
And I
be
guess
fine.
if a commissioner can't make it here or there, it's not a big deal. I
That's
guess,
true,
but
yes, yes, yes,
as long as you're
Right, right.
As long as hopefully you're there for your.
yes, yeah,
As,
yeah, yeah,
as long as everybody else takes good notes.
yep.
So does that sound good then? We'll try to schedule everything we can in the 22nd, 23rd, 24th?
Yep.
That sounds good.
From say like, I don't know what I say, from like, give them from like 2 to, I don't know, well, it took about an hour each,
Not
didn't it?
past 7,
Yeah, I think we started at 1 o'clock
Oh, 1,
in the
okay.
past. I mean, you can go back and look at the schedule that
1
we
to
had a
5,
year
1 to
ago.
6, something like that each day?
1 to 6 would be better to be done by 7, yes.
Okay. So we'll see what we can do as far as scheduling that out.
I will say, if we have a long day, are we gonna get a snack period? That's all, it's from 1 to 7, it's a long time for,
Last year, we did it the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
that sounds about right, yeah. Anyways, to be
Good old
determined, we'll find out how
We
heavy
can
they are.
bring in a pizza.
Something, get my blood sugar thing,
Katie
so I can think.
Katie can bake some cookies for us.
I do enough at home.
I could bring in some deer sausage.
There you go.
And I think with that, let's see, that's that.
So Katie, you'll get those letters out quickly.
I'll tell whoever does it, yes, correct.
So I believe
Thank you.
I'm done.
Well, we gotta talk about next board meeting.
Oh, I won't be here next week. I'm planning on being gone from about the 20th to the 3rd or 4th.
I was gonna bring that up as well, cause the 28th was looking like I'm not gonna be in town either, I'll be on the phone.
I want to say, did Bob, you say you were going to be gone on the 28th?
Yes, yes.
I think the best thing to do is just cancel that meeting. I mean, is there any legal reason that we need to meet between now and the end?
That's what I was asking. I don't know of any.
That's why I looked back in the
We got the
past
budget
minutes
done,
to
we
make
got-
sure everything was caught, and I know the last couple years, that meeting
The
has been
28th
canceled.
has been canceled. And so we meet on what, is that
That'd
the
be
10th or
the
the
11th.
11th? The 11th,
The 11th.
so that's the second week, and so that, if the county can transact their business without that meeting, I'm okay with canceling it.
The only, I'm gonna do, instead of not payroll, but APs this day, I'm just gonna get it processed this day so we can capture as much as we can
Right.
for 2023.
And pray it doesn't snow.
And
When's the holiday, when's the holiday?
25th and 26th.
Well, they get the day before and Christmas
Christmas
Eve and
Eve.
Christmas Day off, so they're going to get the 25th and 26th.
So on
Unless
the
it snows.
1st, what do they get?
Just the 1st.
Just the, okay, that's what I was wondering, if the
Yeah.
29th came into that at all, because of, okay.
Yeah.
So they don't get New Year's Eve day off,
No.
okay, alright. Okay.
I
Okay.
think it'd be good if
And
we
do
got
we
a
need to
motion.
post that's.
I gotta do a public,
I think it'd be good if we had a motion and support to, not
Okay.
hold the meeting on the 28th. Just say we're gonna, we could say, you know, for lack of interest.
We don't wanna show up.
Yeah, we don't have enough, we won't even have a quorum, for
Right.
one thing,
Right, you might not have a quorum, I don't know,
yeah.
cause you weren't gonna be there?
No, I'll be here.
Oh, you'll be here.
If
I
I'm
wasn't
not
gonna be
doing
here,
crop
Bob,
insurance,
so
I'll be
it
here.
depends on if you and Mike were both gonna be here.
But that'll let me do more crop insurance.
But our manager's not gonna be here, so.
Yeah,
No, if the manager's not here, we can't.
Yeah.
so I think it'd be good if we had a motion to,
I'll move that we not hold the meeting on the 28th.
Okay.
For the Hillsdale County Road Commission.
Or,
have a motion and support that we not hold our meeting on the 28th, that's currently scheduled. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion's approved.
you need to please make sure that Mike Parney knows. when
Yes,
that
I'll
meeting
call
is.
him,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Mike
was like, I'll send Doug an email too, but.
Right, but Doug's still here, so.
Usually.
Mike,
I got it.
walk across.
Thank you.
So I got one last thing that just came in, that the Gherkin took off $6,000. So basically, they would have taken off the actual material asphalt to fix those spots.
They only took off $6,000. So how much did we pay to fix the spots? That would, again, would be,
It would, that probably was the cost to fix those spots.
We would have paid anything for labor? For relaying?
Not, well, for that, those were small spots, they weren't, it wouldn't take them long. So in the grand scheme of things, we probably got billed for everything, and then they took off what it took to repair those spots.
so we didn't pay to repair the spots?
That's roughly, I mean, it's everything's
Roughly.
out the wash.
Okay, all right. And that was only about $6,000. I thought the repair was gonna be more than that.
No, because they weren't big spots, I mean,
No,
Okay.
one spot was about the size of this table.
Okay,
you know,
see, and I didn't know
you
that.
know,
And so
so-
they didn't have to pull out what they did and redo a base or any of that stuff then?
They did, but we did all the pulling.
So we paid for that portion?
Yeah, so we went out there and saw cut, removed
Okay,
the stuff,
okay.
and then they came in and paid it.
Okay, all right.
So,
So-
yes, we would have absorbed that labor.
Okay, okay. That, I better understand the
So it was,
process. It was a cost share that we provided, time and
Not
material,
quite,
Time and
time, not
labor,
really,
and they did
yeah.
materials.
not quite a 50/50 then, probably.
Depends on
Probably
how
roughly.
labor intensive.
Yeah, it depends on how many people were leaning on the shovels.
Right, and I don't,
They gotta have a safety man out there.
So I have a question on the territorial road bridges.
I do have something for that, sorry.
Has consumers moved the power line?
Yes. I believe they've got that done, so they're continuing to work.
Okay.
But we did find where the easement that we had to get from the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
There's a wedge of land between the Boy Scouts land
could be home.
that kind of follows the
Business.
creek,
Sorry.
and there's a cabin back in there. And apparently, all along, he's had a drive that comes up, and right at the end, he had to work with the Boy Scouts or something to cut across.
I mean,
their-
okay, so you're talking about, there's a drive right at the edge of the east bridge.
Yep. That is the Boy Scouts bridge, or that's the Boy Scouts property, the Boy Scouts drive.
Yeah,
He has one that comes along the river, between that drive and the river, which there's not much space there. And he comes to a certain point where he runs out of space, and then he was always cutting across onto theirs and coming out onto the road. Well, because of this bridge realignment and everything, we're taking their drive and making like an S to come out past where the guardrail's gonna go. And then he started throwing a fit saying, hey, you can't do that, I can't get my trailer in like that S. And we're like, you don't own it. Well, so we went out there, met with him, the engineers met with him. They are gonna, and they met with the Boy Scouts. They're gonna realign it a little bit where it isn't such a big S, it's more of a come off the road that goes down to the Boy Scouts. He's got work with the Boy Scouts to get everything, because he always has, evidently. So, and it sounds like the Boy Scouts will let him come in and he'll just, where theirs turns, it goes this way, and his will go to his. And so it's not much off of the right of way, but it is. So I don't know how he's ever had to drive there to begin with without having an easement from the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts own right to the abutment of the bridge. And so I don't know how you get off of his property onto the road on either side, cause it's about, he owns the creek basically, and then it widens out into his property a little bit. So, we did realign we're gonna realign the driveway, and he can deal with the Boy Scouts as far as any kind of easements that he needs, but so both seem to be okay with us. It's between them for that, but.
So as far as the progress on the bridge projects themselves, I would think with this kind of weather that they're moving ahead.
I would think they're
Full
gonna make
speed.
a lot of ground up that, you know, hopefully it'll be well earlier than June when they get done, because they're able to do a lot right now.
Yeah, I've had, you know, a number of people down in the southern part of the county ask me, you know, when's it gonna be done? I'm telling them, well, the projected time frame is sometime in June.
And it very well could be May.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep telling them that
Yes.
until
Yes.
we get farther along and know if they're quote ahead of schedule.
But as far as everything I've heard, they don't have the issue with consumers anymore. They're removing some of them now, so all the guardrails gone, we hauled that off.
When is consumers gonna bill us for that, or you don't know? We haven't seen
I
that
haven't
yet,
seen
have
it
we?
yet.
They're not real fast on that, but they'll come.
2 years down the road, maybe, okay.
I doubt it'll be that far, but.
All right. Any other questions for Bob?
How much a mile to ditch and deburr?
That we're gonna have to dig into, because that's costing a lot more than what I originally quoted or estimated. So that's gonna probably push closer to 40 a mile. I would really,
40,000?
yep, I would really like to, when we talk to the townships, divert them away from doing too much other than just spot ditching for this, you know, the next couple of years.
Correct.
Deburring, yes, that's what needs to be done. Get the water off the road, get it into whatever ditch is there, and then we'll worry later on ditching. There's some spots that it just needs ditched. It has to be able to get somewhere. But if it's already there, and all we gotta do is cut the berm off and haul it off, we can make up a whole lot more ground and cost way less to the township. What was it, Litchfield? I think it was Litchfield, wasn't happy with the ditching portion on Sterling Road. Because they were kind of trying to take it easy, not do any more than we need to, but they're like, no, we want it ditched. I understand that, and we're gonna have to we'll go back and do it for them. But in the future, I'm gonna try to steer them away from a lot of the heavy ditching, because that's what costs so much money. Takes a lot of time, equipment to dig it out and haul that stuff off.
Well, I've been getting, calls from residents of Addison Road, and they would
Paved or gravel?
gravel, not paved, no, we got that part done.
Well, there's still a lot of paved roads that need to be burned.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
and
but that's a township line road, so we've gotta work with both townships.
Well, I'll say that Scipio, they asked when you were gonna do the spot deburming. They don't think you've done any in their township.
we haven't. I mean, we're still trying to work on the projects, and we're not gonna get all the projects done that were
Okay.
contracted this year.
So you're not gonna be doing any spot deburming?
We might from here to there, especially if it's holding water and it's causing us an issue for grading or snow plowing or something like that. But I don't foresee a whole lot of just going out and hitting spots this year. We got so many of we still got like 6 miles of contract that we need to do.
Right, and you haven't started, that was
We
what
got
you
3 out of
said.
the 6.
We got one finished,
Yeah, one totally finished.
all the other
2
ones,
just needs gravel.
So you have 2 more, cause I would say at the end of November, at that meeting, you said you had 3 miles done, you had 3 left to go. So we have accomplished 1 more mile?
Of the ditch and deburr.
Yeah,
Other than we gotta go back in and address some issues on Sterling still.
okay, so we have 2 more miles of ditch and deburr
I
that
think,
probably won't get.
And we're not gonna be able to do them this year.
what did we have? There's 5, I think 5 contracts, so it was 2 miles out
Yeah,
of
but
5
some of them
contracts.
aren't a full mile, some of them are just
Okay.
partials, but.
I'll let the Adams Township board meeting, one individual made the comment that it would take us 100 years to,
It's gonna take a long time.
well, I fully understand that, but I don't think it'll take 100 years.
I mean, if you did 10 miles a year, you got 1,200 miles of road. I mean, do the math there, but
Yeah.
that's where the deberming, if we can get out of all the heavy ditching and do more just straight deberming, we can cover a lot more ground.
Correct, especially with the potato digger.
And I will also say Fayette Township wants clarification on Genesee Road. That's the one that they want ditched and debermed.
With the trees and.
Yes, and they're down
That takes
to,
even longer.
they're down to 3 township board members currently. So, in January, I know we're gonna meet with the townships, but I think we, and maybe me, you, and them need to sit down and have a game plan, so we're all on the
I
same
think Kevin
page.
was talking about trying to get the trees taken care of this winter.
Okay,
Yeah, because that was the big thing. They
Okay.
didn't want anything done if we weren't
Right.
gonna address
Right.
the trees.
right,
If we can address the trees this winter,
Okay.
that opens
Okay.
up to where we can,
so anyways, I'm just putting that on your radar to.
it's still on
That
the
they
board
want
for
to.
Genesee.
And then the other thing, Tim Godfrey got a hold of me and wanted to know, he hadn't heard anything out of you as to that project.
Okay.
And so he was saying it's too late to do anything this year, it'd be something that he would not do until next
Spring.
late. No, he said like fall-ish,
Oh.
late summer, fall. And I assume because he's too
Okay.
busy in the spring, and I
Maybe.
don't know
Yeah.
that, but that's what I'm assuming. And so, you might wanna touch base with him, I thought what we decided was is we'd pay the difference between a 12-inch pipe and that 18-inch pipe. And he explained to me why it was so much more expensive, because the 12-inch pipe comes in a roll versus the 18 comes in sections.
And actually, I talked with Kevin Little on that, where we were thinking maybe even put 2 12s.
That's what I
Side by
asked
side.
him when we talked, I said, couldn't we do 2 12s, which if that'd be cheaper than going with the 18? And he goes, it might, so, but he was looking maybe for a phone call cause he hadn't heard anything on that, so.
Okay.
That was what I did with them. Okay, I think those were my township issues that I wanted to make you aware of.
Glenn Frobel resigned as supervisor at Cambria.
Oh.
So you'll have Joel Bowers.
Okay.
Joel would like right around the township whenever you're available.
Okay.
Or whenever he's available. That's about all I got to offer.
Okay, there's one item here on the agenda that we haven't talked about yet.
2.
2,
One
I
in
thought there
old
was
and one
only
in
one.
new. One in old and one in new. Our meeting schedule's in the new. We'll
Okay,
talk about that again.
all right. So, the E&O insurance,
So I did get prices from More Insurance for $1 million of coverage. It'd be $4,943 per commissioner and that's a 3-year bond. But then I called over to Branch County to see how they were addressing it. Jay got a hold of Gail at McChrysip, and right here on our bill, it says, public official, air and emissions. So, we have it.
So why did that ever come up in the
I don't-
Frugal 5 that somebody said they weren't covered?
it was
when-
Cass County that said that we weren't
Because
covered.
McChrystal's
Because
right on their bill.
Right on the bill we pay, it says, right here, public officials, air and emissions.
No, there's no such thing as food insurance policy.
Something not.
So
Did it
apparently
exceed
we've
the
been paying
million?
it all along.
Yeah.
I got this
Well,
morning.
in
I have-
Cass County, did their claim exceed $1 million per commissioner?
I have no idea what Cass
Then you
County.
wouldn't potentially have coverage.
Okay, well, this is really interesting, because it kind of boggled my mind that we weren't covered under McChrysip.
Mhm.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I guess
Makes no
then the
sense.
question I have is gonna mean you're gonna have to do a little more digging. So what is the limits of
Mhm.
liability that we have there?
No, I didn't get a chance this morning before the park meeting to go that far.
And
Gail
That's
will
good
easily
news.
be able to send us that.
I guess
good news.
again, it says public officials, I mean, to me, that would should mean the board.
Yeah,
Correct.
because right here, because Jay was looking into this too from Branch County, and she responded, it says, it covers all the commissioners and any bond required that the road commission can legally pay for. That's what came from Gail.
Okay.
So now I just gotta figure out the limit.
Just the limits on it, yeah.
Right.
See if
And
you
did somebody from McChrysop say they didn't bond us?
I was,
Or that came
I
out
think
of
it came
Frugal
from the
Five?
Frugal
Okay,
Five.
okay,
from-
okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes, okay, well, this makes much more sense,
It
and
does.
hopefully that's
They
the
kinda got us
reality.
spun around in a whole whirlwind, but
Yep.
eventually.
Yep.
Ended up here.
Read our bills. No, I get it, I don't mean that negatively. I do not mean that negatively at all.
Yeah, it seems strange to me
Yes.
that they.
I was saying that myself, and
Wouldn't-
if not, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well,
Yeah, if we can find out what the threshold is or what the limit is.
well, there.
but we weren't the only ones in that boat, cause I know
Right.
Branch County was looking at, like,
Yeah,
Yes. Well, there, we just found $25,000 more for the roads.
There you go.
yeah, okay.
yeah.
That we're
Sure, I
not
did
gonna
all
spend.
that.
That's
Well, that wasn't in the budget anyway, so.
right. Like I said, we found $25,000, it goes to the roads now.
So,
All right.
agenda or dates for the new year? Under new business then.
Well, can I talk about them? That December 26th looks like a bad date.
Well, it's just like the whole, and it's not gonna help me, like the
We
28th.
might have to move that.
Which we can move it later, but the 26th
Mhm.
sounds like a horrible date for a county, because it's the day after Christmas. You're gonna have Christmas off regardless of
Yeah.
where Christmas
And
is.
Christmas Eve.
Must be have a leap year if it's,
I'm just
It is.
went by
Yeah.
the
if
second.
it's, if the 25th is moving to Wednesday, it must be a leap.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, you could take it.
Wait a minute.
But again, in the past years, and who knows, we don't have to cancel the last meeting, but in the past year, usually the last meeting, we don't have the last meeting.
so do we wanna just leave it then, and if we don't need it, we cancel it at that?
I think that'd be the easiest thing
Cancel
to
or
do.
move it, depends on
Yeah.
what
Alright,
headaches come.
I just know looking at that's gonna be a problematic date. I'm not coming in the day after Christmas for a road commissioner meeting,
Why?
I know
You're
that.
not representing the public.
Oh, I just know, sometimes you know, a date just won't work. Oh,
Yeah, they all look good to me.
So, do I have a motion then that we approve this meeting schedule for
I
twenty
move
twenty-four?
that we approve the meeting schedule for regular board meetings of 2024.
support.
So I have a motion from Mark and a support by Kathy that we approve the 2024 regular board meeting dates that are before us. Any further discussion?
Question, do county employees get their birthdays off?
Yes.
Well,
It's in
then,
the contract.
I'm
that's-
teasing,
oh.
that's enough, I'm teasing.
Oh.
I need the 24th off then,
Oh.
because that's my birthday, and I need the 24th of April, or the
I'm
25th
like-
of April, and the 24th of October, because that's Mark's birthday.
Oh,
You
okay.
can have whatever day you want.
I was like,
I'm just teasing.
That's not my birthday.
Oh, my husband, Mark, not yours.
My birthday's in April though.
Yeah, mine, yeah. Anyway, you hit 2 birthdays next year.
Okay.
I think it's time to bring this to a halt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion is approved. Okay, just one last opportunity for public comment. Anybody wanna make a comment here at the end of the meeting? Okay, I would just make this comment. I think we've had a good year. We've gotten a lot of good things done. Thank Bob for his leadership. I'm sure there's been some times he's taken some flack that he didn't deserve, but you know, when you're the boss, those things happen from time to time. So,
Gotta have thick skin.
yeah. So we will end this year and ready to roll on the next year ahead. I have a motion to adjourn.
I would say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, because we're not gonna meet again.
Okay, thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
And the Christmas party is still on for tomorrow
Yes.
at noon. Okay.
And you have my permission to eat for me,
Oh,
because my wife and I are leaving first thing in the morning, and we're headed to Missouri to spend a few days with our oldest son and his family. So,
Very
yeah,
good.
we're looking
Safe
forward to
travels.
that.
Safe travels.
Good deal.
Yeah. You went east and we're going west.